The ABB FIA Formula E Championship moves away from Berlin to mainland China. It's our third different venue here in where the series was born back in 2014. Beijing to Sanya, now to Shanghai. It's time for race one. Let's head down to the grid where Nicky Shields is with Billy Munger.
It, you know, in a good, strong manner.
All right, well, all the best. Billy, I'm going to leave you there because I am going to sprint back down and find James Rossiter, who I believe... Oh, I haven't got my running shoes on. Come on, Miles, get your running shoes on. And he is going to be talking to, of course, our only double world champion, Jean-Eric Vergne, the only driver to have scored not one, but 2 championship titles. And I can spy him now, taking off his race suit. We've literally got a couple of moments. James, what do you want to ask Jean-Eric Vergne?
Jev, amazing performance so far today. What's it down to?
Talent.
Thank you, humble as always. No, honestly, it was really great to see you made that small mistake in the first semi, and then you just corrected it, and it was impressive to see that lap in the final.
Yeah, so clearly not talent, right? I mean, probably a bit more luck, but it's a very difficult car to drive, especially around that track. But it's a question of almost under-driving the car, not to make any mistakes. And it's not easy, but yeah, we tried some different things set-up-wise with the team, and you know, they've done a fantastic job to give me a car good enough for pole. I hope that the car will be again quite good in the race.
And what's it going to take to win the race?
Very quickly.
Cross the finishing line first.
Best of luck.
Jean-Eric Vergne, good luck. We'll be keeping our fingers crossed for you. Now let's hear from a driver who won last time out in Berlin. Jean-Eric Vergne's old teammate, of course, also a world champion, Antonio Felix da Costa.
Good to see you, mate. How are you?
And how are you?
Yeah, good.
A fantastic drive from Antonio Felix da Costa.
This is how it's done.
Antonio, you have had a roller coaster of a season. So you win in Misano.
Antonio Felix da Costa comes around the final corner to win the Misano EPrix.
You think you get 25 points, and then you find out that's taken away from you.
Antonio Felix da Costa was disqualified some 5 hours following the end of the race.
Where were you when that happened? Because I found out online, I was shocked.
Yeah. So, yeah, win the race, go to the podium, press conference, do what I like to do, some crazy dives into swimming pools or oceans. And then, as I'm leaving the track, I get notified by the team that the throttle spring was the one from the year before, which essentially is exactly the same. And, you know, I know that's a technical infringement, even though even the FIA admits that there is no performance advantage.
In this case, we can say that probably the influence of the performance is not big.
But on paper, that spring should not have been in the car anymore. And then I leave the track, I knew that was ongoing, and then I'm actually going for dinner with Mitch and Cass.
Was that when it was?
You know, and Cassidy had a bad day that day, and he said, man, I really want to come for dinner with you because you're going to lift my spirits. And I told him, man, I'd literally just been disqualified.
Wow.
And he was like, man, he couldn't believe it. And actually, we were all there just moaning about things. So we come away from Misano at a weekend that we actually won a race on track with 0 points. And yeah, that's, you know, I'm not angry anymore. I'm not disappointed. I'm not sad. I'm just having fun when I put my helmet on again, which is something that I look for, you know, leaving my house to go racing with a smile on my face. And I did lose that for a while there. And I was able to find that again.
How proud are you of that win in Berlin? Because that was incredible.
Antonio Felix da Costa wins for TAG Heuer Porsche.
I was happy. I wouldn't say proud. I am proud of the work that everybody does for me to be able to go out on track and have the conditions to perform like that. It's so competitive that to win one race, it's so tricky. But to do it at the home race of Porsche, we had so many important people there. We had a couple of board members, so it was definitely a special one.
Do you now see your future with Porsche?
Absolutely, man. I mean, it's an amazing brand, right? So I am fulfilling that dream now, or part of it, because the dream is to win with Porsche. Winning the Teams Championship, that's probably my personal biggest goal now. I know on the other side of the garage they have the goal of winning the championship with Pascal, so combining the two would be, I know that's the mentality in the garage at the moment, is to try and win both championships.
And final question, one thing that's changed this season is you're now an engaged man. Has that changed you as a driver?
Not yet, no. But yeah, I'm very excited to get married at the end of the year. I've been together with Inez, my now fiance, for many years. And you know, the time is right. I'm so sure of this move. And honestly, if I'm honest now, I just want to have a kid as well.
Good for you.
So things will change quickly, but you know, and I do believe when you have a kid, you get faster. You don't get slower.
Is that right?
I do think you get faster and wiser. So it might be a good thing.
There you go. So that's the route to success. Not about the package, not about the driver. Have a kid.
That's it.
Pleasure. Thank you
Thanks,
for your
man.
time.
Thank you.
Wow, a very special moment there from Antonio Felix Costa. I wonder if his fiancée is watching and is now aware that, well, they could be having a baby anytime soon.
Yeah, they're not having a kid just for their own sake. They want it for performance gains too, apparently.
Yeah, although I can guarantee this one, Da Costa, it doesn't make you wiser or faster, having had 3 of my own. But Billy, it's amazing to hear Antonio speak there. He always seems to do well when he's having fun. And that's just so important, isn't it, as a driver, to just be in the right place, psychologically more than anything.
Yeah, I think if you're having fun, that just shows you're like mentally in the right frame of mind, and it means that when you come to, you know, the job at hand, even though as a racing driver doing this doesn't feel like a job, yeah, I just think it puts you in the right place to go and push yourself out there on track, and know that, you know, you're just having fun. You're just doing what you've done your whole entire life since a kid when you were go-karting, and I think Antonio is definitely showing that.
And obviously, you know, it's been a big year for him. You know, when you're moving across to a Porsche garage, it's a big manufacturer, there's a huge amount of pressure. And then there was the whole rumour about Nico Müller going for the private test. It's been really tricky, hasn't it?
Yes, extra pressure onto his shoulders, you know, to hear those rumours circling around the paddock. You know, word gets around, you know, Formula E paddock quick, so he'll have known people have been talking about his seat and the fact that he's under jeopardy a little bit with that position in the team. So I think, considering all those factors, he's recovered it pretty well, and it seems like he's moving in a positive way going into the back end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now we are going to take a moment to listen to the national anthem. So a special moment there at the start of this inaugural race here in Shanghai. Now it's time to catch up with Radzi, who's down there on the grid somewhere. Where are you? Who have you found?
Nikki, to be precise, we're currently on the 5th row, and such is the nature of qualifying that we have behind us here. Jake Dennis, currently 4th in the championship standings, and look over there, P10, Nick Cassidy, the man who's leading the standings, is right next to him. I mean, James, that's why we love Formula E, so unpredictable, fine margins.
Very fine margins today. I mean, 2 great drivers. They've got a lot of work to do this afternoon to get to the front.
Okay, so that said, how? Because it's a long way to the front, even as we're stationary.
They're going to have to be smart here. You know, you've got to take your time. You don't want to damage your car. We've seen too much of that in recent races, especially from the car number 1. So they're going to take their time. They're going to build their energy buffer. Hopefully they can be a bit more efficient than the others. Wait till halfway through the race. Then hopefully we're going to see them send it to the front.
Let's just walk this way, because there's an awful lot going on here. A lot of sights, a lot of sound, a lot of media as well. And when you're the championship standing, or the leader of the championship standings rather, you definitely deserve to have your car in shot. Nick Cassidy isn't here. He's gone for, as you referred to, what is it, a break? Not
a comfort break.
A comfort break indeed.
Sure.
You alluded to something earlier on, that potentially it wouldn't be implausible for both of these guys to possibly have a word with each other to help each other.
I do think they would be smart to work together today. You know, they're both on the same row of the grid. If they work together, they get through to the front. They can stay out of trouble as well.
That's huge.
And, you know, the thing is, I don't think Jake's going to want to play that game. Nick knows he just needs to bring home podiums. If he brings home top 5 finishes for the rest of the season, he's in with this championship.
Final question is there a preference to be on either side of the track here in terms of this being on the tight side?
I think we're going to see a lot of action going into turn 1. I think you want to be on the inside at turn 1. You don't want to be pushed out too wide. I would prefer where Nick is, to be honest.
Okay, final question. So if you are in the middle and you are feeling cars encroaching on you, what do you do?
You pray. You pray in Formula E.
We're going to pray. That's what we're going to do, Nicky. We're going to pray. But right away, God's going to provide an awesome race.
Jake Dennis, we know how fast, how long this Shanghai circuit is. I would like to find out just how fast. Are you all right to take me out in this, the Porsche Taycan? A bit of a track guide, let's say.
I'm more than happy to take you out here. Yeah, I've done a couple of warm-up laps. I know the limit, and yeah, we're going to go have some fun.
I'm usually pretty excited about doing laps around Formula E circuits. But when Jake's driving, he's really egging himself on.
I'm going to take you on a track.
Oh, he did it! Oh, you always do that. Oh, here we are, first corner.
Into turn 1, super long. It's going to be difficult to try and make some passes here. Just need to turn these video sunglasses on one-handed right now. But
you are trying to slide this.
We'll get inside and maybe exit T3. Bit of curve here, good opportunity to overtake. Down to turn 3, all the apex curve here. Might be able to get it to slide here if we can.
Show me full beans, this is it. Bit of a straight opportunity. I want to see how fast this thing goes.
This is all she's got right now. Coming in down into turns 5, braking into 6. Hope the brakes work. Hit the brakes.
Oh, a little bit of sliding.
Down into the apex, get it stopped. Accelerate out.
There we go.
Got a tiny bit of a drift. And then up to 7 and 8, super fast flowing. It's going to be super cool in qualifying this one. As you'll see now, it's a lot of understeer in this car. Hopefully in FE it turns a bit quicker than this. There we go, we got a bit then. She moved a bit.
I'm levitating off my seat every corner. I think you're exploring the track limits there, Jake.
We like that. I'm glad I just got it to oversteer. And this is going to be cool with the curves.
Right, to see the start finish straight.
Back, that was 1 lap. I've got to do 28 of them. Imagine that.
Wow.
Well, that was quite the high-pitched squeal there from Saunders, having the time of his life doing a lap with Jake Dennis. But amazing to really get close and see what this track has to offer. I mean, you can see behind us the view that, well, at least Jean-Eric Vergne and Oliver Rowland have going into turn 1. It's incredibly wide, but then it tightens up. You can see the undulation. What can we expect just at the start of this race, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, normally we're used to narrow street circuits in Formula E. This one's super wide, so it almost gives you a bit of, you know, a full sense of security where, you know, there's loads of room, you can run side by side. But like you said, there's that pinch point down at turn 1 where the circuit really narrows down. We can see it from the overheads here. It just tightens up as you go into turn 1, and then that turn 1 is so long that if you find yourself a few inches out of position, it's just going to get tighter and tighter, and that affects and just worsens and worsens. So I think we're going to see some drivers really gain from that, and some drivers potentially lose out big style.
James, how's it going to play out?
Yeah, you're going to see 3, 4, possibly 5 wide going into turn 1. I mean, it's so vast going in there. The longest corner in Formula E history. It just keeps going and going and going, getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It's going to be 2 wide maximum when they arrive at turn 2. Huge challenge, a lot of excitement. Hopefully they can all keep their front wings.
Yeah, it's a good point, because in Formula E we've seen a lot of front wing replacements, haven't we? Hopefully they all get through that first turn unscathed. But ultimately, I mean, how many cars could we see side by side? I mean, you could probably easily fit 5.
I think 5. You'll see 5.
Okay,
but
then a bet's on there.
It's going to be really interesting to see who wants to lead this race in the first third of it. I think, you know, Jev will want to set the pace the first couple of laps, keep his nose clean. But when that settles down, I'm not sure he's going to want to be the one leading into turn 1 when he gets to around lap 5 or 6. And we should see a lot of hustling from the others. Cassidy, Dennis coming through. You know, it's a great place to overtake.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Envision drivers quickly, because they're in that kind of melee, the mid-pack, down kind of P9, P10. It's always difficult to stay out of trouble, but if they can they move forward? Could they be on the podium? What have they got to do?
It's going to be wide open today. I mean, anything's possible from really anywhere inside the top 10.
Yeah, it does feel like anyone could win this race, which is super exciting.
Exactly, right, so the bets are all off, because anyone could win in the top 10. Let's go down to, well, they're a dynamic duo, really. They're the brawn and the brains of the Formula E paddock. Let's hear from Radzi and Saunders.
Go on, Nikki, the check is very much in the post. Now, we are slap bang in the middle of Jake Hughes behind us there. We have Antonio Felix da Costa on your right. Behind the camera, we have Norman Nato. And at the very end, at the back, we have Stoffel Van Dorn. Saunders at the back of the grid, we have the jungle. At the front of the grid, we have the lead. Where is this?
I'm going to call it the zone of opportunity.
Nice.
Or the sweet spot. Because really it could go one of either ways. You could push forward, find yourself in a great position where you've saved enough energy, and at that launch point you're in a great spot to hold that position or even go for more. Or you could slip back into that jungle and find yourself at risk at every corner.
Nobody wants to be welcomed into the jungle, but like that 80s classic right there. But what about Jake Hughes? If you get a bit closer to his car, by the way, brilliant in qualifying the group stages, brilliant lap time in the quarterfinals. Could he feature? He was fantastic in Misano.
Harry, that's the thing. We know Jake Hughes is good in qualifying. He showed it in his rookie season as well. He's shown it again this season. But the thing is, when it comes to the racing, that's where he sort of lets himself down a bit. So if I was Jake Hughes, I would be thinking, hang on a minute, Oliver Rowland, the man currently in the top 3, the man with 6 podiums, is able to convert into good race performances, into podiums. I have the same power behind me with the Nissan powertrain. Why can't I do it? Is it a difference in style of racing? I think that's the key. Oliver is a slightly more aggressive driver, but don't for a second think that Jake Hughes isn't capable of doing it. I think this could be a bit of a sweet spot for him.
So, putting you on the spot here, you are the oracle of Formula E. What is the optimum strategy that will result in potential success in this race? Because no one seems to know.
It's a fine balance, it really is. And James mentioned it a little bit so far. It's about being in the right place where you can save enough energy in order to, when the race gets to that point where the strategy switches from being efficient to being flat-out racing, you are in the position you either want to stay in or you're within reaching distance of the position you want to end up in. But that's easier said than done because everybody else is trying to do the same thing. And when you've got the people in the jungle trying to get out of that jungle into the safe zone or the zone of opportunity, you've got a lot of cars all trying to do the same thing, potentially at the same point of track.
And we have races within races. This is the properly exciting one that could potentially go some way into determining the potential outcome of who is crowned Formula E World Champion. When we look back on this season, will we say it all begun to unravel for one of those top 5 protagonists right here in Shanghai? We've got no idea, Nikki.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, an impassioned invitation to buckle up and enjoy the season as it unfolds here. Now, you've had the sales pitch from Radzi and Saunders. It is nearly time to go racing. Lights out in just 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Nikki, as well. We're all set for what's going to be an absolutely fascinating EPrix coming up shortly. Let's take a look at the starting grid then for you as well and how they line up. But, yeah, there we go. Pole position for Jean-Eric Vergne. He now matches Sebastian Buemi as 16 pole positions as well. Surpasses it as well, I should say. So Jean-Eric Vergne is now the most pole sitter in Formula E history. Ollie Rowland is second on the grid on row 1. Row 2 sees Evans alongside Verlaine. Row 3, Hughes and Da Costa. Row 4 sees Nato and Van Dorn. Row 5 sees Frines, and Nick Cassidy lines up 10th on the grid after not making it through. He was 5th in the Group A duel as well, so it didn't go through fully. Row 6 sees Dennis and Buemi. Row 7, De Vries and Gunther. Row 8, Muller and De Grassi. Row 9, Sete Kamara and Tictum. Row 10, Bird and Girouvala. Then we see row 11 with Mortar and Fenestraz. To explain how we got that grid, Group A qualifying, the 4 that went through, Van Dorn, Rowland, Nato and Frines. Eliminated were Cassidy, Buemi, Gunther, De Grassi, Tictum, Girouvala and Fenestraz. Then going forward as well for Group B, Hughes, Vergne, Da Costa and Verlaine went through. Out went Frines, Dennis, De Vries, Muller, Sete Kamara, Bird and Mortara. The quarterfinal duels, the first one, Nato versus Rowland. Rowland won. The second, Evans v Van Dorn. Evans won. The third was Da Costa versus Vergne. Vergne won. And the fourth, Verline versus Hughes, Verline won. Semi-final 1 saw Roland ahead of Evans, and semi-final 2, Vern ahead of Verline. Roland won, Vern won. Into the final, Roland v Vern, Vern and on top. And getting ready, and alongside in the commentary box, I just remember I haven't highlighted Vern's name on my commentary sheet as well. Ed Hunter is just gearing up, ready to go. Looks like he's almost off to the gym as well, But that's, I presume.
It's our day, Josh. And by the way, you sound very distorted. I don't know if that's being picked up on stream, or maybe is that just your throat from having not slept all night?
That's that's how bad my voice has got. But hello, it is towel day. I presume that's why you're wearing your towel. How are you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm feeling all right. I had to catch up with qualifying. Looked like some of the duels are very, very close, like Da Costa and Vern and Roland right at the end in the final. I think a bit from Roland's point of view, it's annoying to miss out on 3 points for pole, because being second in what's almost certainly going to be a Peloton style race is probably going to be the least the position nobody wants to be in, because you're right at the front using energy, and you don't get the 3 points for pole position, so it's sort of a poison chalice, really. But we'll have to see, because at least starting up front means you're less likely to get involved in incidents at the start. But I have a feeling it could get quite. A lot of people are saying this could be the most ridiculous one in terms of, because there's so many long straights and not that many braking zones, essentially.
Do you reckon, as we say, by the way, congratulations to Antonio Da Costa, says Joe Samiego, on his engagement as well. And good morning, he says, good morning to you too. Joe's going to be with us in the commentary box for tomorrow's EPrix, alongside myself and Ed. But Ed, do you reckon that we could see Roland drop back into midfield like he does, and then slowly work his way back towards the front, just so he's saving energy?
I suppose it's a strategy, as I just checking the chat myself, just to say congrats to Joe as well. To Da Costa, sorry, not I'm it's Da Costa's got engaged, not Joe. I got confused by what you said there, Josh.
Sorry.
But no, it's my fault. I've just gotten up, you see. So I think it's a strategy, but the problem with dropping back is that you've got to make sure you don't get hit in the back by someone if you do it too suddenly. So I think we could see rows of cars, and it's interesting because Jeff Dodds has sort of been saying, "Oh, people really like the Peloton style of racing." I feel like it depends who you talk to. I feel like I remember you were very keen on it in Portland last year, and I think we're a little bit more mixed on it, and it really depends on which track, and also at the extent of how much everyone is backing off and just giving the lead to each other. Because I don't mind a bit of strategy and people ducking behind each other, but I think when it gets to rows of like 3, 4 or 5 cars like constantly every lap, I feel like it becomes a bit exhausting to watch, and also sort of it gets a little too silly, in my opinion.
I agree with you. It started off the first time we had it in Portland. It was quite fun. But then it got repetitive and it got dangerous. And the drivers getting a little bit silly with it as well. So will it be better when we have the attack charge? That's the question.
I've no idea. Well, it seems the attack charge keeps getting delayed, so it's kind of a non-factor at the moment, because we're not even sure if we're ready in time for season 11 at this point, to be honest, because of the amount of delays that have been happening. But yeah, it would certainly make things a bit different, because it would split up, in theory at least, split up the field a little bit more, depending on the strategies. But I think it's sort of the proof is going to be when it actually gets, applied and sort of in practice. Because I think it's very easy saying, oh, well, with attack charge, you wouldn't get a Peloton style of racing. But I feel like you've still got the cars going at speed, and if people pit together, they're going to come out, being able to slipstream off of one another. Yeah, this is not a rambly answer, but I have a feeling it's not a magic bullet, as it were. I feel like the style of racing that we got at the moment is pretty. I think Gen 3 Evo will address some of the problems, but I suspect it won't be a cure-all.
Yeah, it's not the bullet that we all think about. It's going to change. We're going to hand back over to the world feed shortly, as well as we gear up for the start. I don't know if it's going to be an immediate launch in, because there's still another 2 minutes on my watch until we're due to start talking. Joe said, "Oh yeah, down to Susie, down to Nikki."
So myself and Billy Munger have been kicked off the grid, which can only mean one thing. No, we didn't do anything naughty. It means we are moments away from lights out. Billy, despite Nick Cassidy, championship leader, starting the race from the 5th row, he's very much the one all drivers have got their eyes on. Who is going to stop him from taking potentially a win or a podium finish? Who's going to get in his way?
Well, I think Nick Cassidy's got so many stats going for him this season, but I did a little bit of stat searching before the start this weekend. And race 1 at the double headers we've had so far, there's been 9 podium places up for grabs. 4 drivers have had 8 of them. Ooh. Nick Cassidy being one. The front row shared by Oliver Rowland and Joyak Verne, both of those go well at double headers. And also Jake Dennis, who's pretty near to Nick Cassidy on the grid in 11th. So I think those 4 drivers for me, the 2 on the front row and the 2 10th and 11th on the grid, they're the ones I'd watch out for going off the stats.
So if I was a betting woman, which I'm not, that's where I would be placing my bets. Well, there we have it. We are now moments away from the inaugural race here in Shanghai. Will it be Nick Cassidy or will it be one of his contenders? Let's find out.
勇气。
The atmosphere is building, the tension is rising. Welcome back to mainland China. 10 years ago, this is where Formula E began. Beijing hosted 2 races, then we took a 3-year break. We went to visit Hong Kong for a couple of years as well, but then made a return to Sanya. Now, 5 years later, we are back. The Shanghai International Circuit, known for Formula 1 racing, MotoGP back in the early 2000s, and now all-electric Formula E. It's not a modified circuit, it's not even been built for Formula E. They've chosen one of the many layouts here at Shanghai. They cut back through turns 10 and 11 onto the start-finish straight, which means it's the only purpose-built circuit we've ever visited that has the correct layout. Here's your starting grid from back to front then. Sasha Fenestrat starts in 22nd. Alongside him is Eduardo Mortara. Johan Jaruvula is 20th, with Sam Bird starting in 19th, back after a broken wrist. The 2 ERTs starting in 18th for Tictum and 17th for Sergio Santa Camara. 16th on the grid for Lucas Degrassi, and Ant Cooper share that row with Nico Muller in 15th place as well. Maximilian Gunther lines up 14th with Nick de Vries in 13th place. 12th on the grid sees Sebastian Buemi alongside Jake Dennis, he too failing to make it into the duels as well. Nick Cassidy, the championship leader, down in 10th place, was 5th in Group A. Robin Freins alongside him, he was 5th in Group B. Into the duels then, Stoffel Van Dorn lost out, Sorden Norman Nater, they are 8th and 7th on the grid. Into the top 6 though, where Ed Hunter is pointing out the cars for you down there at the grid. 6th position for Antonio Felix da Costa on the grid as well. Jake Hughes lines up in 5th place as well. Moving further forward on the grid, Pascal Wehrlein lines up 4th as well. The championship is in his hands. Just 15-point the gap. Can he close it down today? Mitch Evans for Jaguar TCS Racing lines up 3rd on the grid as well. Let's see what he's got in his hand. And then 2nd on the grid as well takes us to Ollie Rowland. And pole position takes us to Jean-Eric Verne in the DS Penske. Now, the all-time pole sitter in Formula E, taking that away from Sebastian Buemi. Alongside me.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. He got pole this morning, took it away from Buemi as well.
I thought they both had 16.
Matched.
So they're joint. It's a joint record. But you're right. It is a big achievement from Jev.
I thought Verne took pole position last time out in Berlin race 2, which means now he's got it.
No, I don't think he did.
Where's my
I
note?
thought it was Dennis. It was Dennis who got it the last time out at Berlin race 2, wasn't it?
Oh, well, it's too early.
Because Andretti's locked at the front row, yeah.
Cassidy
You're
and Dennis,
inventing Jev poles here.
Yeah, is that round 10? Yeah.
Stop inventing. Stop inventing.
Stop inventing. Stop inventing. Not many tyre smoke this time around. That's quite interesting. 29 laps ahead of us. We're expecting very much a peloton race for the first half. Then we'll see what happens. Sam Bird, completely healed hand now as well. In 1 month. Remarkable job. We are back in mainland China, where the series began back in 2014. The green flag is in the back. The circuit surrounded now by a city that has come to the track. I hope they zoom in here, because we can't exactly tell what's happening with the lights. Yes, Shanghai's electric, but I quite need to see the lights. The drivers are right at the bottom of the screen. That's not a great camera angle for the lights. 3, 4, 5... Lights out in Shanghai. It's a good start from Jean-Eric Verne. It's a poor start from Ollie Rowland. Coming through from the second row on the grid. Pascal Wehrlein's going to take second place. Mitch Evans going to go alongside him. And now the lift and coast begins. Wehrlein has the lead. Verne on the inside line. Evans slots into third. Rowland now under pressure as well with Jake Hughes. Round turn 1. Downhill in towards turn 2. No one taking attack mode. Into 3. Verne leads from Wehrlein, Evans, Rowland. And then now, Ed, it looks like the status quo begins. Everyone just lifting and coasting.
Yeah, brilliant start from Pascal Wehrlein there. He just had an amazing launch off the line as everyone struggling to avoid each other as they shuffle through into 3, 4 and 5 here. And a couple of rows side by side as we see Evans side by side with Rowland, who's been shuffled back down to 4th and potentially is going to struggle to hold on to 5th here because Jake Hughes is trying to attack too. There's is that Da Costa being attacked as well from Jake Hughes then for 5th position as Jev is just using up energy at the front of the pack then. So the DS Penske very good in qualifying, but in the race the energy efficiency is yet to be seen. As there we go, Da Costa going on the outside of everyone then to get up to 2nd.
Let's see what their first lap time is then as well, as Verne cuts the grass coming through the first corner. And this is the Constantine effect you get coming out of that one. So it's a I'm trying to see the best lap time here. It hasn't told us up in the commentary box what the time is for differential, but adding them up, they are 5 seconds slower in Sector 1 and 5 seconds slower in Sector 3, Ed. So Sector 2 is only 3 seconds slower. So it's a slower lap again.
Yeah, I got very surprised there because I was convinced that the two Porsches were going to take each other out there because it looked like Wehrlein just swept across in front of Da Costa. So I can't imagine Antonio is going to be too impressed by that. As we see, Robin Freins has actually made up a few places up to 6th then, and he's challenging Rowland for 5th. So that's good for the Envision that started... was it 10th on the grid here? He's challenging for the top 6, and up the inside of Rowland he goes into the hairpin. That's 3 wide with Hughes on the outside, and then Evans just in front of them. So Robin Freins looks like he's made it through. A nice little double move there. You can keep out around the outside of Hughes here.
That's going to be difficult as well. The Envision doesn't have the best Evo as well with regeneration power early in the race. We see them struggling quite often late on as well, and McLaren have one of the best. We saw that back in Sao Paulo with Sam Bird being able to take the victory as well, saving the energy into the last lap. I hope Hughes is learning from that. Sam Bird, by the way, started 19th. He's already up into 10th place as well, so never mind what anyone was saying about that. Where is our championship leader, though, of Cassidy? Cassidy has dropped back. I'm trying to see where. 13th. Started this race in 10th. It's already dropped back massively. 3 wide in the mid-pack coming into turn 1. And that's Van Dorn making her way through.
Dennis and Van Dorn. And they're going around the outside of Bird.
And yeah, Dennis further ahead as well. NATO's trying to get ahead of Rowland. Wehrlein's taken attack mode and has kept the lead of the race. I believe, no, Verne's taken the lead of the race away from him. Constantino in the mid-pack as well, as Van Dorn tries to come back through with Rowland has just taken it. So the attack mode charge, it's 6 minutes in total, so it's the same back in Berlin race series. It's 3 wide to the braking zone. Freins on the inside line. Evans in dead centre. Round the outside goes to Costa. Costa gets shuffled out, and now Freins having a go at Wehrlein. He's just taking attack mode. And Verne, it's 3 wide coming into turn 7. Freins round the outside of all of them, and Robin Freins takes the lead of the EPrix. 4 cars in 1 corner round the outside.
Yeah, that's brave stuff from Robin Freins. We know he's one of the most critical of this style of peloton racing, mainly because he's so worried about getting his hand broken again, and understandably so, given what happened to Bird and a couple of others. But yeah, now he's hit the front of the pack. It's going to be tricky for him to save as much energy He's going to try and dictate the pace, though, but it's unless Frines is going for attack mode, this is an odd strategy here. But, of course, in Vision, they've not had a whole lot to smile about in recent history, so it's good to see Frines running at the front regardless, but let's see how long this lasts for.
There's the radio.
Yes, Robin, keep this up. We are in the proper race now, let's go.
Robin Frines.
And he's taking attack mode.
Exactly, so he goes around the outside into 1 and then into 2, and he slots in just side by side with Da Costa for 4th.
We saw Evans do that trick back in Berlin as well, jump to the lead of the race, and then the next lap take the attack mode. So it's 6 minutes apiece. Drivers then have an opportunity to take either 2 and 4, 2 and 2, or 4 and 2. That's your 3 versions of attack mode. 3 wide there into the braking zone as that's Roland on the inside of Hughes with NATO being shuffled back.
Yeah, interesting. Andretti's working together in 8th and 9th. I think Dennis is saving energy, and it's NATO now that's caught up with the pack ahead of them. Yeah, look, there's a small gap between NATO and Dennis here, so Andretti being quite smart. The problem with Frines is now he's in attack mode. He's not going to be quite as quick because he's going to be constantly spinning up the rear tyres because that's how attack mode seems to work on these, especially on these types of circuits. But even on the conventional street circuits, attack mode is sort of, you use it to get it out of the way, and we saw it at Berlin as well. When Evans went into it at the end, he was just extremely vulnerable, and it sort of played against him. He didn't go into it earlier. You see, it's that Evans side by side with somebody there.
And Da Costa's taking the lead of the race. Verline's letting through because Da Costa's going to take the attack mode. So Porsche working together now. Look at that. And Vern's going for his second attack mode as well. So that's going to be him on 4 minutes. Frines going to slot back through on the inside line. Da Costa has kept it through. So Verline leads. Da Costa second. And then Vern's come out side by side with Hughes.
Yeah, this has worked out well for Da Costa here. So Porsche desperately would love to control this race running 1-2, but we've seen this before, haven't we? And they've inevitably ended up, one or both of them ends up using a bit too much energy and end up getting outfoxed on the strategy. So let's see if Porsche have hit the front too early. But yeah, Da Costa getting their attack mode out of the way is crucial.
Not taken attack, guys. We had the opportunity to take attack.
But he has taken attack, so I presume that's an old radio message from, what, the last lap?
Yeah. Unless he thinks he missed it.
Oh.
But that wouldn't really make a lot of sense, so... They would have said on the radio, oh, but we're showing that you did take it. And it should say on the car dash as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right. It's an old message, Josh.
Look at that from, we see that's Sam Bird. Bird coming back through the inside and just touching the back of Jake Dennis. And that's going to allow Van Dorn alongside him down towards turn 1. Look at that. There goes Van Dorn through on the inside line, pulls out alongside Sam Bird. He just got a better traction. Bird's not going to fight that one as well. He got compromised through turn 10 and 11. Verline takes his attack mode. Coming back is Mitch Evans as well. So actually, Verline takes 4 minutes, and Da Costa's on the outside. He's going to slot in right behind his teammate, and they're going to work together now. So both Porsches have used all of their attack modes, if I'm not very much mistaken, at the moment. As now we see Da Costa trying to go around the outside of Verline. They're not going to make any friends into that turn 6, and they're not careful. Get to the right camera angle, please, director. There we go. Da Costa has taken the lead of the race, and it's all continuing further back as well, because we've got Frines, Vern, Hughes, Evans side by side as well. Vern's taking it. Frines shuts the door. Evans was on the inside there, trying to get ahead of Hughes, and it's all a bit of a chaos. Dennis has got ahead of Rollins. The two Andretti's can work together, but it's Porsche 1-2.
Yeah, it's been certainly eventful so far, but I'm surprised that we haven't seen more front wings flying off. I thought it would be a lot messier than it has been so far. It seems like the circuit seems to provide plenty of space, and the drivers giving each other plenty of space as well. As we see Frines defending from Jean-Eric Verne, then as Evans is hoping to use that attack mode. At least down the straights, it should be a little bit more useful. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Evans just pull to the inside, and Van Dorn does the same as well on Nick de Vries, who's had a decent qualifying. He's just running just outside the top 10 at the moment.
Last 4 races for Cassidy has always been on the podium ever since his DNF in that first race as the two go side by side. So now we see Da Costa.
Did Da Costa go into attack mode again there?
Yeah, 4.
That was odd.
4 minutes for him.
Or was it Verline? Sorry,
yeah.
But I think he must have just run out and gone in, so Porsche should get them out of the way early.
3 wide in the braking zone. Evans up the inside.
Evans.
That's going to be tight. They're all giving each other enough room. It's nice to see, actually. They're all learning the peloton style.
Good job. We're 1% up on Robin.
Lou says formation up underway. Yeah, they all moved forward down the grid. Defending champions Dennis starts 11th, while winner of the Formula E race, Grassi, starts 16th. And Joe says, surprised how single file they all are in. Yeah, it's very much leaving it up.
Oh,
to
you say that? Here comes Evans.
That's going to be a front wing off the not careful, because that part of the track, Constantina's turns 10, 11 and 12. It's a narrow single file part of the track. It designs to loop back. It is part of the track. It is an official layout. They haven't just added that in for Formula E like we see in Valencia. It is an actual layout, as now we get Friends up the inside line and Dennis coming to turn one. It's too wide everywhere as Evans goes side by side with Verline. For Evans ran the outside at turn 1 and shut that door, and he literally turns into turn 1, and then by the middle apex of the second turn, he shut the door in. Brilliant there, as we see Roland take 4 minutes of attack mode as well, and NATO's taken 2.
Yeah, and crucially, Jake Dennis has gotten himself into the mix here, and he's gone into attack mode, come out just side by side with his teammate NATO, who's just lifted off the throttle to let him through, and now Dennis going up the inside of Robin Friends then for 5th position.
Friends had to back out of that as well. He opened up the steering wheel mid-corner, so he was not expecting to see Dennis dive bomb the inside, and now he's going to try again. Actually, that's NATO looking on the inside. It's Friends trying to go on the outside. Friends going way wide. He's got in the dust. He's lost 3 positions already in that mid-fight as well. And there goes Van Dorn back on the inside line. I think that's with Jake Dennis as well. NATO's just behind, and there's Jean-Eric Verne getting ahead of Dennis, and Verne's up to 2nd. Verline takes it back. They're 3 wide in the single file of the part of the track, and Verne takes the lead as Evans and Verline battling together through turn 11. 2 wide, 2 wide, 2 wide. 3 rows of it as they come across the line, start lap 9.
Yeah, it's interesting because the only real chicane on this track is that sort of 10, 11, 12 section, isn't it? Those final couple of corners. As you see De Vries and Friends going side by side. So De Vries is having a really, really strong race, actually, up to P7 at the moment, but yet to take either one or both of his attack modes. As there we go, Friends enters attack mode for, I think, the 2nd time in this race.
Cassidy takes 4.
But yeah.
And drops down to
Cassidy being overtaken by Degrassi because he's gone into attack mode as well.
There we see on the inside line. Dive bomb manoeuvres once again. That's coming from Da Costa, getting out of Da Costa, and now Evans as well. Evans
Costa gets ahead of himself. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was Dennis who was just making the move on there.
Yep, he has up to 3rd. Has Evans fought back though? That's what I'm trying to say. Evans on the outside line trying to as they come into turn 8.
Ooh. I'm surprised they're able to hang it around the outside and end up not just holding on to but gaining one as well, almost unintentionally. And we're seeing them continue to go 3 wide into that final chicane, and it's whoever's on the inside seems to come out on top, unless they've got the overlap, of course. But yeah, everyone very, very respectful so far, and it's almost like they've all been put on notice after the last couple of Peloton Star races in Berlin and Misano.
Well, Misano was a cutthroat circuit. Yes, it had open parts, but that first chicane was a service road, so it wasn't part of the
artificial walls that's put right next to the circuit as well. Well, you can't really do that at Shanghai.
You've got 1% more than all cars around you, except Mitch.
This is the first purpose-built circuit we've come to where we're actually on an official layout that was registered, that we haven't changed or anything. So this is the first time it's ever happened in Formula E history. We're at a purpose-built circuit with a layout that's just ready to go. They've had no adjustments, nothing. This is a layout.
Yeah, and look at De Vries going past Da Costa there as Dennis and Evans go side by side. So Dennis has been told he's got more energy than the people he's fighting with. So Dennis is going for the win here, and he's just got to find a way to make sure he doesn't get caught in the pack here.
Wing damage. NATO's got a wing damage. You see, Ed, if you look. Oh, and Verne getting pushed off. Oh, now this is the problem. It's this part of the track, the chicane at 10-11. This is where we're going to see the accidents happen. As well, it kind of looks like a bunch of shopping trolleys through that part of the track as well, just 2 by 2. As NATO broken front wing, our first broken front wing in the race so far.
Well, you can see it hanging off here.
But
it's not too bad. It's really just the side part.
Oh, now it's time to get hectic. Dennis has dropped right back into the middle, and Nick De Vries has taken the lead of the race. That's how unpredictable this one is. Mahindra at lead with Nick De Vries for the first time since he returned to the championship. Leads a lap.
Yeah, there we go. So De Vries is sort of worked his way to the front, but this, again, like we saw with Ryan's earlier, could be a bit of a mirage. I'm pretty sure De Vries has not used all of his attack modes yet.
I'm with you on that one. Oh, contact! That's Robin Friends touching the side of Norman Nato, and they nearly have a second go at it for good measure. Vern went in a bit deep on attack mode as well, with 2 minutes to go on that. And there's De Vries for everyone watching on in the Netherlands. He is leading. Netherlands' is first ever FIA World Champion. No, it wasn't Max Verstappen, it was Nick De Vries. Verstappen didn't do it for another 5 months. Random fact of the day for you.
Admittedly, I think there's been a lot of people saying that De Vries got kind of lucky with the qualifying format that they had in Season 7 as we hear his radio.
C2, we don't want the lead.
Doesn't want the lead.
Oh, no, yeah. It's nice to see him lead the lap, and it's great to see the progress Mahindra have made. But yeah, he's got to let Verline through if he wants to get any points out of this one, because he's just going to cheat for his energy at the front, creating a massive hole for everyone to save energy in his wake.
His teammate Mortara is down in 9th position. He did have pole position back in Berlin, race 1 as well, and he finished 8th in that race, so he is getting a little bit more experience. As we see Jean-Eric Verne side by side with Ollie Rowland coming out of turn 3 and 4, down through 5 into the heavy braking zone for turn 6. This is the major regen point, and look at this. Cars go left, cars go right. Massive Constantine on the inside line, and that's Evans taking second place round the outside. He goes of De Vries, and now we're seeing Rowland and Verne trying to fight their way through this. Rowland jumped ahead of Verne there, he has. Rowland up to 4th place, jumps ahead of Jean-Eric Verne, and Friends and Dennis still in a battle mid-pack as well. Coming up there's DaCosta up to 6th place, and now Rowland trying to go around the outside of De Vries. Got to be very careful, nips ahead through turn 9. De Vries going to start falling back, and now we come into the braking zone at turn 10, where Verline and Evans again battling for the lead of the race.
Yeah, and that was crucial for Roland because he did not want to get stuck behind Nick De Vries then. So it looks like De Vries is starting to be shuffled a little bit back down the order, but he's still in the top 5 at the present moment, as there we go, side by side go Roland and Verne. Verne using just the last of his attack mode to just get himself up into 3rd place.
2 McLarens are battling, and they're side by side as they come into it as well. Contact as Cassidy goes up. This way, Cassidy Radio.
Leading the race, then eventually being told you need to start chilling out and saving energy. Now,
0.45.
What numbers is Mitch is what
Yeah.
I heard from Cassidy there.
That's what I heard as well over Saunders. He's down in the pit lane as well. Now, why is Hughes dropped down to 22nd? Yeah, apparently Hughes has stopped, but that's what the timing screen's saying. But I saw the 2 McLaren side by side. Bird's in 13th, so Hughes must be there too. I don't think Hughes... No, yeah, the Hughes' transponders had an issue. And now it jumps back up to 15th, because I saw him and Bird side by side to turn 1.
Yeah, he's just ahead of Tedek tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah, there he is. So Hughes is okay. And he's dropped back a lot, but it's lap 15 is when we were expecting everyone to stop peloton racing. Now it gets messy.
DaCosta around the outside.
Oh, and Verline nearly went to the back of his own teammate coming into that braking zone. DaCosta checked up massively, and it's all getting a bit nippy now out there as they come down the straight once again. Lap 14, so we're expecting proper racing to start on lap 15 of this race if they've saved enough energy, but we haven't yet got the battery information as Gunther's dropped down the order to 15th, Bird's up to 12th. Evans, DaCosta, Verline, 1, 2, 3, but that's going to change as now we see Verne trying to go through on Verline. And now Frine's going to have an attack on Verne as well to try and count back on that. Repercussions of trying to go for an overtake.
Yeah, I thought the final 10 there took huge. Sorry, I'm echoing in the background.
Sorry.
Also, you're cutting out a lot for me, Josh, so I apologise if I'm speaking over you at any point.
No worries at all. I'll see if it's an issue on my side as well. So Dennis is 3 minutes, NATO 3. Bird still got 2 minutes left on his attack run. You watch it be my internet not working as well. Oh, and everyone just getting... Oh, no, it's fine my side.
Yeah, I think it's just... I'm just going a little bit closer and closer to me.
Oh,
I'll do my best here.
All getting a bit close together in the braking zone as well. Just stay calm, everybody. Evans leads ahead of Verline. Verne's down into 3rd position as well. Battle screen as well as... We'll get this sorted, and what I'll do here is quickly, I'll just turn the camera off.
It seems okay at the moment.
Oh, I'm just going to let it catch up for a second. Ready, and now. sometimes that works, Ed. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
better.
was just going to say, interesting message from Cassidy, who's gotten his way up to 6th as well. He was wondering what Evans's numbers were. And yeah, definitely look there. Evans 54%, the same as Verline then. So actually, those two leaders have done very well. So has Jake Dennis, Mortara, interestingly, and Muller also saving a lot of energy. Muller, interestingly, impressing once more in a peloton-style race like we saw in Misano. So Muller on his return, showing he hasn't lost a step. He's just sort of been in mid-pack saving energy. And now this could be when Nico Muller starts to strike on a... Yeah, he's got 2 or 3% more than the people around him.
Ed, I'm not exactly happy to see that we're halfway in the race and everyone's got around about half of battery left. That's telling me that we are actually going to see this peloton race for the entirety of the EPrix, not just the 15 laps that everybody was thinking.
Yeah, well, it depends. We haven't seen if there's going to be a safety car or not, but we'll have to see. This is the replay of... Oh, is this Roland going up the inside of 3 people?
What is Jeff doing, man? He's just driven straight into the side of me.
Well, did he? I don't know.
Well, it's hard to tell from the nose cam. There might have been some side contact with Jeb, yeah.
Oh, up the inside of the grass and contact. That was Evans getting hit. Was that by DeFries or Dennis? It's Dennis getting hit by Cassidy. There we go. There's timing tower updates. So Dennis and Cassidy coming to blows. There's Evans now with Verline and DaCosta. I think it's taking
Evans was leading, so the Porsches have just both mugged him at turn 1 there.
Yeah. Timing tower is not caught up at all. Right. There we go. Verline leads. Evans second. Side by side with him is now DaCosta. He's going to retake second position. So Evans loses out, but tries to hold through. Timing tower's useless at this point. Oh, and Mortara's got a problem. There's wing damage here. Further back in the pack. Mortara's lost his front wing. He's gone over the back of somebody. Eduardo Mortara is in trouble. I can see Van Dorn with some damage to it. So I think Van Dorn...
NATO has caught trouble somewhere as well. So maybe him and Mortara came together.
So all 3 having issues. We'll see for a replay coming into that hopefully soon. But Roland and Vern drop down 8th and 9th. Degrassi up. And Hughes, Fenestraz and NATO dropping down the order as well. Mortara is into the pit lane for a new front wing.
Yeah, and they're still trying to slipstream each other down the main straight here. Interesting, we haven't seen too much. We've seen the DS's, Penske's near the front, but the Maseratis both have been struggling in this race. Gunther in 11th, and I think De Rubela is down in 19th at the moment. I think he might have gotten caught up with whatever happened to Buemi, NATO, and Mortara as well.
There is the damaged wing for Eduardo Mortara, and they were looking at the rear as well, diffuser area, and they've told him to cut it. That's it. So Eduardo Mortara is out of the race, our first casualty of the day.
Yeah, it's the right-hand side, so everything is bent.
Suspension.
God damn it, I went in, and then the guy from the inside just let the T-bone me.
That was contact as we saw Friends getting pushed wide. The go moment will be with 7 laps to go, says the virtual race engineer. Let's see what it is as the 2 Porsches block the track so no one can overtake coming into the 10-11 chicane.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you can get 2 cars to the front, it's actually not too disadvantageous here. And the problem with Dennis is now that NATO has sort of been put to the back of the pack, he's sort of got no one to help him. And Cassidy and Evans are sort of trying to do a sort of sandwich action, essentially, where they're the bread in the sandwich, where you've got Evans up the front and then Cassidy at the rear saving energy. De Vries, meanwhile, still running very convincingly in the top 4, and he isn't too far down on energy compared to Evans. He might be struggling come the final couple of laps. But yeah, could be interesting.
There's debris at the exit of turn 6. The surface flag is being shown.
Exit turn 6.
Surface flag shown, exit of turn 6.
I thought you said circus flag.
That's what I was thinking. I was about to go and there's the damage, and the debris in the middle of turn 6 has taken the lead is Pascal Verline. DaCosta's in second place. Evans trying to come through on the inside, gets a little bit wiggly, nearly hits the side of DaCosta, who tries to go around the outside and defend his own teammate coming into that braking zone. Now Evans going to go right around the outside. The 3 leaders, 1, 2, 3, side by side coming into turn 10. Yellow flag, double yellow at turn 5 and turn 6. They've sent marshals out to recover it as they're still 3 wide. Porsche trying the block tactic as well as they come through. Evans can't find a way through there, and here comes De Vries, who's still in the battle.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason through Discord, your commentary's all over the place, Josh.
Oh, right.
And I don't mean you. I mean that's what's happening through your internet or whatever. But it was like cutting out and jumping around. But there we go. Evans round the outside of Da Costa for second then. So as we see, the yellow flag still out for the debris at turn 6. So Evans splitting the Porsche is crucial, and that means Wehrlein hasn't got Da Costa to help sort of just block the road on the other side of him. So Evans, smart driving there to get ahead when the opportunity presented itself. And
oh, Wehrlein ready?
Evans is told to attack. Evans is told to attack Antonio.
So there's confirmation.
So Evans is attacking.
Cassidy's looking good on the energy right now, boys. I think he's...
Okay, they keep opening and closing the radio messages tab. The only good thing, Ed, is I can say is that you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, occasionally when you turn the volume up, I can hear myself a little bit, but that was only just a one moment there. But anyway, look at this.
Oh.
Da Costa going to go back around the outside of Wehrlein, and we got Dennis and De Vries doing battle. So I think Jake Dennis is going to try and go around the outside here. There's a little bit of grass being cut off in the background. Yeah, this is looking good for Wehrlein at the moment. Cassidy, though, has got a lot of energy. I expect him. 10 laps to go. He's going to start breezing through in a minute. And Muller is in a similar position on energy as well. Both of them with like 3 or 4% more than the people they're battling with.
7 to go. That was the moment we were told from race control, or the virtual race engineer.
And look at De Vries. He's being shuffled back already. Cassidy and Dennis back through.
Similar time to what we saw Mortara happen. In race 1 in Berlin, it was sort of at that point of the track. De Vries was in 6th position, and Mortara was up in 4th, then dropped back further into 8th place. Let's see how far De Vries can finish in this race.
Very good, except that De Vries wasn't in the races in Berlin because he was at World Endurance Championship in Spa. But other than that, yeah, it's not too far off what happened, Josh. But yeah, Gunther, interestingly, he started climbing into the top 10. He's battling with Freins for the moment, and this is what happened to Mortara.
So, further back in the pack, side by side. There's the dive bomb. Hits one of the McLarens. It hits Mortara. Oh, and Gunther hits the side of
Hughes.
Yeah.
And then Hughes just gets sent into Mortara there, so nothing they could have done. I wonder how NATO gets mixed up in all of this.
Is he on the outside? Is it a separate incident for NATO? Are we on board with NATO?
Not sure.
NATO's dropped back to 21st position anyway. Tickter's dropped back as well. Freins has dropped down to 18th.
Yeah. It would be surprising if the car we were on board with was NATO, because he didn't seem to be involved in the incident at all. So he just sort of happened in front of him. Is that Hughes or Bird going into attack mode there, or trying to? They went really wide through turn 1 there.
Missing something there on the control board. Down they come. Wehrlein leads. Evans, Da Costa, Dennis, Cassidy. Gunther and Verne side by side as well. Gunther's jumped ahead of Jean-Eric Verne, and that's Evans now battling with Da Costa, who's trying to go right round the outside. Evans not going to fight that because he knows he'll have the power to shut him up at the exit. He does so, and now Evans right to the back of Wehrlein as they come into turn 10. And look at Dennis. Dennis has got back in this fight.
Yeah, him and Cassidy on very, very similar energy. Dennis has still got another attack mode to use as well, though, so that could be interesting to see how this one plays out. I wonder if Andretti were hoping for a late safety car or something, but it's not played out that way. They're sort of in the point where they've got to use it.
telling me they have my energy. I don't care. I need to fight. They just slow me down.
Verne's not happy.
Oh. I think he's a bit annoyed about having to save energy and fight with people at the same time. As Dennis, there we go. He's bailed out and gone into attack mode, so that's put him behind Cassidy now.
Good tactic, though, because he's got to use it before 10% of energy remains. Otherwise, he will get a disqualification penalty. You have to use the attack mode, all of them, during the EPrix. If not, you are disqualified from the event. As now we see top 3, Wehrlein, Evans, Da Costa, and Evans still holding on 2nd position as well. De Vries up 7 places, Cassidy and Dennis up 6 as well, but I think that's Freins dropped down 12 from where he started. Yeah, 8th down to 18th, now 17th, so he's moved up a little bit. This is what happened to Robin Freins. He gets shuffled out here at 9 and 10, isn't he? Oh, he spun it!
Oh! Was he maybe hit?
tapped around there.
Let's have a look. Oh, he lost it on his own.
Oh. Very unusual, unless it was side-on contact, yeah, but that is very unusual through turn 1, but the rear's crowing enough, so that puts Freins down to 17th then. Big shame for Envision. And it's not going to help you stop using up energy either, as Freins sits the fastest lap. He's on 24%, where he's fighting with people with 27, 28%. And there we go, Buemi's making a move on to Grassi then for 12th, as Muller holds on to 10th then.
Dennis having a battle up front as well, up into second, now third position. Side by side with Da Costa. He uses attack goes fast is what the halo says as well, and it's true as ever as Dennis goes through. Look up for Verline. Evans is going to get back through on the inside line, and now he's under pressure because here comes Dennis through as well.
90 seconds remaining. 90 seconds remaining. Awesome. Let's keep it up. I'll leave it to you.
Well, it kind of is, because Dennis was on attack mode and he got ahead. So.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, but at some circuits it just seems to spin up the rear tyres and waste energy and not go that quickly, to be honest. But yeah, Dennis in a good position here. He's been able to not only repass Cassidy but also get past Da Costa here. And I think this is turning into a four-way fight for the win here. I think Da Costa is being played out of this one at the moment.
Gunther and Mortara under investigation for causing a collision with 6 laps to go. Oh, and look at how defensive Verline goes against Dennis into turn 1. Verline knows what this means as well, with Cassidy right behind in 4th place. Any chance to take points away in the championship is up there, but Cassidy only started 10th. With Peloton Racing, we were expecting him to come through. Cassidy does have a shot at this win, and Da Costa, I think, will not hamper Verline in that respect, but Evans is pushing like crazy out there as well. But is he going too much?
And Evans is going to try and help Cassidy here by holding them up. And look at this, Dennis to the outside of Verline as they go through the turn 4 hairpin.
And here comes Cassidy, as you say that. Yeah, Evans has backed up because now Dennis could try to pass Verline, but Cassidy is right there. So Evans doing the team job here, just like Cassidy has done several times this season. Evans is playing the team game. And of course, he's caught Verline and Dennis vulnerable. Yes, they both share Porsche powertrains, but 2 very different teams. And that is going to allow Cassidy to start on the attack as Da Costa's going to throw it up the inside of Cassidy. Down at turn 10, there's a bit of bodywork hitting, but Cassidy's going to shut the door on him. Da Costa can't get through this time around. Now the race is on with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, just a bit of side-on contact there. Yeah, it's interesting. We're not quite seeing the ERT Misano strategy of just hanging around the back and then using energy late on pay off. As there we go, De Vries is picked off by Oliver Rowland, who has sort of just lost a lot of ground stuck behind the Mahindra.
He's coming back into this as Dennis's radio.
Oliver Rowland.
Have we got any energy calls, bro?
ISO with Pascal, 2% down on Cassidy behind. ISO with Dak.
So Dak is Da Costa. So easy way to say that over the radio.
Cassidy doing by far the best on energy then of those front runners.
Yeah.
And look at this, Cassidy trying to go around the outside of Dennis once more. And he might be able to pull this one off.
This comes the inside line through 7. It'll be the tight line, and that's going to be very close with a cutback at 8 because Dennis is going to hold him around the outside line. Meantime, Verline's going to go on the inside line of Mitch Evans. So Jaguar's been forced on the outside line here. The pair of them, that's not the ideal line. They both hold on to it. Cassidy takes 3rd, Dennis down to 4th, and now here comes Verline trying to go right around the outside as well into the braking zone at 10 and 11. That's going to be Verline on the grass and cuts the corner, and they nearly go in this contact. Evans hits the back of Verline as they come across the start-finish line as well. Little love tap, and now Cassidy's going to go right side by side with Evans across the line. Meantime, Da Costa's got Dennis alongside him as well, and Rowland's coming into the fight. Down to turn 1. Verline's on the inside line. Evans on the outside. Cassidy is still behind, not having an advantage unless he can sneak through on the inside line. Verline takes the lead.
Yeah, interestingly, Evans decided not to let Cassidy through there. So I wonder if Cassidy might be the only one that's good on energy to the end here. Everyone else has still got some saving to do.
They've got to be careful now because we're running out of laps and we're running out of energy. So you've got to make every move count. That's what Evans is trying to do, but Cassidy's going to send him around the outside of his teammate as well, coming out of turn 6. Verline is just going to have the advantage at the front. Look at that, 155 to Verline's 149. Cassidy can't let Verline win this race. He'll close up within 6 points in the championship, half in the gap he had coming into today.
Yeah, but so important not to just get your front wing taken off then in these final few stages. And I don't know how Verline survived going on the grass as well. That could be under investigation. As here we go, Evans to the outside once more.
Well, cutting the track and gaining an advantage, wouldn't it?
Like I said, just tell me what to do. Am I holding, racing? Tell me what to do.
I hope they tell him to race.
Race extended by 0 laps, no added laps, no safety cars. Let's hear from Cassidy again. Is it race or hold? We don't know. That's what. So Cassidy doesn't know what to do. Cassidy's been. James Barkley has been so behind on the team calls this weekend, and the impact of the whole season is like just let them race. But when it comes to critical moments, the drivers don't know what to do. Are they racing or are they fighting? Look, there's James Barkley not even blinking. And what are the team going to do? Let them race or not? Here's Cassidy's radio.
Stages of this race.
For how long are we holding? Because I can go
Evans through!
At the energy.
Evans goes for the...
Evans through with damage from nose cone. He's side by side. Is that going to allow Cassidy to draw up alongside? Evans takes the lead. He's wheel banging with Verline as they come through turn 7. Cassidy's on the outside line trying to slipstream, trying to go to the inside. Verline still leads this race with 8% with 3 to go. And now they're all diving everywhere. Evans trying to go around the outside coming into turn 8. Slipstream's around the outside line. Can he get back on the power to cut it through? No. Verline shuts the door.
Yeah, and now Da Costa's starting to attack Cassidy as well. So Cassidy, you can tell, getting a bit panicky here. Because the problem is his energy advantage is going now.
Who was that? That was damage from Dennis on the back of Vern. So Vern's lost a bit of his wing. Flying up in the air, the braking zone.
Oh, look at Dennis defending from Roland.
And it's getting mad now here in Shanghai. Let's hear from Cassidy.
For this.
Can someone talk to me?
They're not talking to him.
So we're still holding, but help each other.
If I was Cassidy...
So it's help each other, hold position. That's wrong in my opinion, Ed, because this is going to get messy quite quick. They're going to run out of laps to actually attack.
Yeah, but if you're Jaguar, it also makes no sense to have both of your cars fighting each other. With Da Costa being a threat behind, from the point of view of protecting Evans fighting for the race win, it makes sense to hold position.
Contact!
I think, it's not as Roland going quite deep into the corner. They dive bombing Dennis, and Vern nips through as well.
And look at this. Evans is now really still trying to get through on Verline at the front. He's nipping and tucking everywhere. The opportunity is slowing everything down.
He's going to have spare energy at the end here, the way this is going.
Yeah, he is. 6% for Cassidy. He might be able to just power through on the last lap because they're all going to run out of energy at this rate. Vern's ahead of Dennis.
Well, they might not, though.
Not many opportunities left to overtake. The oil flag's gone out. The slippery surface coming out at the last chicane here. And then...
Slippery surface flag, yeah.
Yeah, there's the damage wing for Jean-Eric Vern that I mentioned earlier on. Last lap then. 2% only for Verline. And Evans. Cassidy's got 4. Cassidy might be able to do something as Evans goes hell to the wind round the outside. And there goes Dennis on the inside getting ahead of Jean-Eric Vern as well. Vern tries to cut back and Evans takes the lead into turn 1. Mitch Evans leads with 3% on the regen. Can Cassidy go through? Evans is now going to hold him up, but who's going to win the EPrix?
Oh, surely it's Mitch Evans to lose now. There's no need to do anything clever with the strategy here. He's just got to hold on to that lead and hope he can regen enough energy to make it to the end of the lap. Cassidy, though, is going to try and go hell for leather. And here we go, round the outside.
For only 1% for Verline. Evans regen to 2, now on 1%. Cassidy's got 3%. Let's see what's going to happen in the last sector of this race as well. And Verline's on 0.9. He's going to have to lift and coast. He won't make it to the line. He's still half a lap away. Coming down to the braking zone. They'll regen, lift and coast as much as they can. 3% left. See how much? And now Evans hits 0.9. Cassidy's still got 2%. If he can find a lunge, he can get ahead. He's going round the outside. Verline goes defensive. Here goes Da Costa back on the inside line. Cassidy's going to try it. He's going to lunge on the inside. There's contact. They're going to hold on. Wing clap for Cassidy. Through on the outside. Evans wins in Shanghai. But who's going to take third? Verline second. Cassidy third. And there's debris everywhere across the track. Roland fourth. Da Costa fifth. What an end in Shanghai. Evans wins.
Oh my goodness, I think Roland nearly did win in Sao Paulo. He steals third right at the end, but got Dennis and Da Costa in those closing stages. And Jaguar absolutely jubilant, and why shouldn't they be?
Yes! Yes!
Porsche don't know what happened there. Evans just holds on. Cassidy clips his wing. And Da Costa and Evans are under investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So the race winner is under investigation. Wow. So Verline might still be the victor of this EPrix. It's not over yet.
Yeah, the only other investigation was the Gunfer. There was a noted incident between, I think it was Roland and Da Costa, which led to no further action, which was when he tapped tail light early on. But yeah, the Gunfer Mortara incident, I think that's a slam dunk. Gunfer's going to get a penalty, which means he probably isn't going to hold on to that 9th place. But Nick De Vries also scores his first points of the season in 8th.
And exactly the same position that Edo Mortara finished in Berlin after leading the race. Let's listen to what
Wasn't he 9th in Berlin? Oh, never mind.
It's 8th or something. Let's hear from Cassidy.
Can someone talk to me? Can someone talk to me?
It's like that Doctor Who episode of Science. You remember Science in the Library?
You turned out the light.
Yeah, yeah. Just repeating
you
on
messed
a
up the
loop.
strategy.
Just repeating on a loop. Well, there we go then. What a race in Shanghai. It was a bit cleaner until the end, and then all hell broke loose. Standard Formula E.
I was trying to think of more recent Doctor Who quotes. I didn't see the most recent one yet, but I did see the one last week. Oh, what is it? Everywhere's a beach eventually.
Yeah. Last night's actually alright. It was okay, actually. I did see it at midnight, obviously. Oh.
Yeah, it's such a shame they opened with the two
moment
worst
to
episodes.
get to the lead. I made a bit of a meal of it. I thought I'd throw it away a few laps to go. Thanks, man. And as you get back on the last lap, we had the energy in hand. So, yeah, mega result for the team as well.
Very cool, calm, collected. Congratulations on a great drive there.
I love how
Mitch Evans.
That's Billy Munger talking live to Mitch Evans, and he's had Cassidy bang on the side of the car, didn't even react, just gave him a handshake and kept talking. That was very interesting from Mitch Evans. But yeah.
Oh, no, well, it's a bit of an awkward situation because he's sort of got a lot to multitask there. I think it was nice of Cassidy, though, to do that. Obviously, his emotion's still running quite high. And I think Cassidy, from Cassidy's perspective, he did exactly what the team asked him to do. And then they stopped giving him instructions. I think there's a double-edged sword here, isn't there? Because is it a case of Cassidy needed to be more selfish for himself? Or is it a case of the team needed to make up their mind? And because they could have had a 1-2 there, if you think about it, if they'd managed that race just a little bit better. Because Cassidy was holding for so long, that meant Verline had just enough to hold him off at the end there. As if maybe he'd attacked a bit earlier, he could have got through. Potentially maybe even won the race, but then would that have compromised Mitch Evans? We'll never know, I guess. But yeah, I think it was a good drive from Verline, actually, but unfortunately, from his point of view, Evans had just a bit more in hand.
Absolutely. Coughing now. That's great on the commentary.
Right. I'll get the podium ready.
Yeah, we might actually be out of here before 9:10, which is when I've got to go off here to get to the box for the MotoGP Free Practice 2 session. So there might just be a little bit of leeway there as well. Let's go through the provisional standings then here from the Shanghai EPrix, the first one. Oh, and Vernon Da Costa now under investigation for pushing a driver off the track. So there's more and more information coming about...
I'm surprised Verline is under investigation, but maybe he'll argue he got pushed off the track, I guess.
I presume he might have done on the radio. Did I hear Mitch Evans is under investigation, says Joe? Yep, he's under investigation as well as... who's it, Seti Kamara as well? For pushing a driver off the track.
Gunfer, who else? Yeah, I'm sort of losing track of all the incidents. They all happened in the back half of the race, unsurprisingly.
I think it's Da Costa and Evans under investigation for gaining an advantage off the track. Now Jev and Da Costa are under investigation for pushing a driver off the track, and Gunther's under investigation for earlier on in the race as well for some unknown reason. Here's the results then. Evans provisionally wins here in Shanghai by 0.7 of a second to Pascal Verline second. Nick Cassidy is third. Ollie Rowland fourth. Antonio Felix Da Costa's fifth. Jake Dennis sixth with the fastest lap, so picks up a bonus point, a 1:15.965. Vern seventh. De Vries in eighth, as Ed said, gets his first points back. Gunther, Boemi the top 10. Boemi gets points as well. Van Dorn 11th, then Degrassi, Fenestraz, Freins, Seti Kamara, Nato, Muller, Hughes, Bird, Jeruvala and Tictum, and Mortara was the only non-finisher in this race. Let's hand it over to the world feed then as we take a look at the replays and get the interviews.
Mitch Evans takes his 12th career victory then here in Shanghai. What a fantastic job from Jaguar once again, and also a very good job from Tag Heuer Porsche. Wasn't quite the victory for them, but second and currently fifth as it stands, despite the fact there are some investigations underway, is not a bad result for them at all.
Yeah, no, they definitely showed some strong pace there. Just looked like, just compared to the Jags, obviously missing a little bit of efficiency.
We're going to see a bit of remonstration here, I think.
He left me no racing room the whole last lap, and he moved on me under braking into 10. He moved on me under braking into 10, pushed me way out wide, never turned in. Man, that is so dirty. Come on.
Yep, we'll report it. We'll report it.
Cassidy not happy at all then with Pascal Wehrlein's conduct on that final lap. Let's catch up then with our race victor, second of the season for Mitch Evans here in Shanghai. What a result for him and for Jaguar in China. Let's see what they've got to say.
The inaugural winner of the Shanghai EPrix, Mitch Evans, a big win at the business end of the season. You must be delighted.
Yeah, super happy. Look, it was not an easy race to manage. Starting towards the front can be good, it can be bad, but I think we managed it well. I thought I got into the lead at the right time, but actually, yeah, Pascal kind of caught me napping a bit into turn 8, and he put his nose up and then had another go at me. So, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get anything for going off track and passing me. So we have to look at that afterwards. But anyway, a great result for the team. Got it done on the last lap. I had that energy advantage, so I just wanted to bide my time and hopefully let the race come to me, and it did. So yeah, super stoked to get this 1-3 for Jag, and great points for our championship, and yeah, it was a good one.
Fine margins all over the gaff. In quali, you lost out to Roland by 1/1000th, and then you crossed the line with 0% energy. It was down to perfection.
It's this category. It's all fine margins. So yeah, one lap pace for everyone is super tight. So quali tomorrow is going to be even tighter, and then obviously in the race, everyone's trying to get to the front at the exact same time, and it's not easy to get done. But yeah, obviously full credit to the team for guiding me through that, and yeah, hopefully we can pull off something similar tomorrow.
Well done to Jaguar, well done to Mitch Evans.
Thanks, guys, thank you.
Yeah, well done to Mitch Evans, and very well done to Jaguar, as Radzi said, down there in Parc Fermé. Good result for Mitch.
Action-packed.
And, well, he can go off with the win bonus and get some new iPads or something like that, perhaps.
Yeah. I'm sure he gets them for free.
Nick Cassidy, though, we saw him visibly very frustrated with the conduct from Pascal Wehrlein. Let's get Wehrlein's thoughts on it. He finishes second here in the inaugural Shanghai EPrix for Tag Heuer Porsche.
Pascal Wehrlein, going into this race, we didn't know, does anyone want to lead? And it turns out you were happy to lead for much of that race, second in the end on the podium.
Yeah, it was a tough race. I think in the end we went to the lead a bit too early and a bit for too long. I think that's where Evans and also the others could build a bit of an energy advantage. I think in the past we've been a bit too conservative. Today maybe a bit too aggressive when we should take the lead. Yeah, just in the last lap then, because of defending, my target dropped. I had to coast quite early. That's how Mitch overtook me then into turn 1. Yeah, tough fight in the last lap with the Jaguars, because Mitch clearly tried to slow me down so that Nick could pass me. But yeah, a few contacts, but that's how it is.
It was a fascinating race, especially towards the end. Your defensive maneuvers were fantastic. The elbows were very much out today.
Yeah, I think it was hard, but fair. One time when I had to pass Mitch, he forced me really into the grass. That, in my point of view, was a bit too far. But yeah, anyways, I think we did what we could do. We kept it clean, and yeah, a well-deserved podium for the team.
Podium and close the gap on Cassidy. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, Pascal Wehrlein, he reckons his defensive driving was hard but fair. Commentary box seems to have a different assessment of that.
Yeah, I think that the last lap for me in particular was maybe, overstepping the mark. You've got to leave a bit of racing room, and we've seen. It's not like we hadn't seen through that section of corners cars run side by side. We know it's possible, and it wouldn't have necessarily cost him the position anyway, but he just didn't leave the space for Nick Cassidy.
Yeah, well, let's catch up with Nick Cassidy and get his thoughts then. Third place for him it is at the checkered flag.
Nick Cassidy, another podium for yourself. Also, double podium for Jaguar. A great all-round team performance.
Yeah, it was a nice race today. Awesome to get a 1-2. 1-3.
And then just in terms of your performance specifically with regards to, could you have gone earlier? Do you feel like you could have won that at some point? Because your energy management, you were higher than everybody else. We were sort of marvelling at it.
Yeah, I had the energy to win, for sure.
And just in terms of disappointment, elation, where's your head at?
It wasn't my decision, so it's okay.
We can kind of read between the lines. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
And read between the lines, we shall. Nick Cassidy there, not leaving anything on the table in terms of his post-race interview. Not his call, he says. Mitch Evans, as it stands, takes the victory from Pascal Wehrlein and Nick Cassidy. Of course, that investigation, though, ongoing, as we know. Oliver Rowland takes fourth ahead of Da Costa in fifth. Jake Dennis inside the top 10 as well, with good points on the board for him in the Andretti, ahead of the pole sitters Jean-Eric Vergne in seventh place. Nick de Vries gets his first points on the board for Mahindra in all the chaos that carried on in that race. We sort of missed that. Well done to Nick de Vries, very well deserved. Max Günther and Sebastian Buemi rounding it out. Stoffel Vandoorne will be disappointed to lose out on points here, ahead of de Grassi, Fenestraz, Freins, Sete Camara, Norman Nato Meyer down there in 16th place. He was up for the podium at one point in this one. Nico Müller in 17th, ahead of Jake Hughes, Sam Bird, Jehan Darubala, Dan Ticktum, and of course one retirement from that one was Edo Mortara, following the contact he had with Günther going into turn 6, sending Mortara out of the race. So it is Mitch Evans then who claims a 12th career victory here in Shanghai. He'll be happy with that one. On the other side of the garage, not so much.
Yeah, not really reading between the lines with what Nick Cassidy, gave us there in terms of information.
So, Teams Championship then, you can see 13 points to the good for Nick Cassidy going into round 12 here tomorrow. Wehrlein there on 142 ahead of Oliver Rowland, so 12 points to the advantage that he has, and 18 points Rowland has subsequently over Mitch Evans as well. Jake Dennis still very much within contention. Jean-Eric Vergne sort of tailing off behind it there. Da Costa and Max Günther very close for company. You can see a bit further down the order, finally Nick de Vries gets off the board with 4 points on it there. He'll be very pleased with that in the Mahindra. Great way to kick off his points tally here in China. So then, a very exciting race means that we see Jaguar with their 1-3 finish commanding the Teams Championship now at this point. 277 points compared to Tag Heuer Porsche. Nissan there, 20 points to the good of DS Penske. They in turn are just only 1 point in front of Andretti for 4th place as well. And Mahindra now closing up onto their customer team, Apps Cupra, for 10th in the standings. We'll have a look at the Manufacturers' Championship as well. The trophy you can see here, led by just 10 points, Jaguar. They have over Porsche in second. You can see Nissan there in 3rd place, ahead of Stellantis Power Cars of Maserati and DS Penske. Mahindra now getting a bit more of a buffer over the ERT team as well. Well, a dramatic conclusion to that race, and I dare say we haven't heard the last of it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there was a few questionable, overtakes and people under investigation for the incident towards the end, particularly Nick Cassidy and Wehrlein just popped up on our screen.
Yeah, that's been noted by Race Direction, so that means they're going to have another in-depth look at it, I'm sure, from multiple different angles. But, well, I don't think there's going to be much joy on the podium between Cassidy and Wehrlein for sure. We heard Cassidy frustrated, though, with his team. Did they make the right call? Ultimately, it cost him a chance of victory and cost him points in the championship battle to Wehrlein.
Yeah, I think there potentially could have been a 1-2 on for them today, because Mitch Evans managed to get past Pascal Wehrlein, and if Nick Cassidy had gone a few laps before, it could have been both, the Jags past Pascal Wehrlein. So I think there was maybe a little bit of margin left on the table. And you could hear over the radio Nick Cassidy, more than anything, just wanted clear communication from his team, his engineers on the pit wall. Didn't quite manage to get that, so that would be something, room for improvement, let's say, going into the race we've got tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, you can see the podium here looks over the circuit at Shanghai. Crowd really enjoyed that race. We loved it here in the commentary box. Once they started to go and stop the whole saving energy style of it, it got really frantic out in front, and we saw that sort of splinter group between the top 4 breaking away towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it was really, I think Nick Cassidy's strategy was really interesting for me, how he dropped so far back. Just gave himself, effectively clear air, was able to really manage that efficiency, but also he made the progress at the right time, that he didn't leave it too little too late. The only thing that stopped him was just that communication element, like we mentioned before, with him and his team. So room to improve for tomorrow, but also strong points. He's always on the podium, Nick Cassidy, it feels like.
Let's have a listening in the cool-down room. Body language there suggests that not best pleased for both drivers in this one, despite the fact that, of course, Evans took the victory. He's not exactly smiling from ear to ear, is he?
No, it feels like Mitch is, you know, he's not exactly, like you say, celebrating that one, you know, like some other victories he's celebrated in the past. It's an interesting take that he's got. Obviously, he'll be pleased, but maybe a bit of room for, you know, improvement or things at play that are on his mind.
We saw a front wing going missing for Jean-Eric Vergne. I think this might be why. Oh, look at that contact with Oliver Rowland.
Strange contact as well, because you're almost, you know, effectively on a straight there between turn 4 and turn 5. So, yeah, big, hefty bit of contact there. Luckily, not too much damage. Oliver Rowland, it certainly didn't affect him because he continued to make progress up to 4th.
Certainly did. Just again, try and listen in here.
Go towards the end.
Well, I'm sure we'll get the debrief from this one afterwards, and I'm sure we've not heard the last of it as well. There is James Barclay, team principal for Jaguar TCS Racing. He'll be delighted with the victory. A double podium, of course, for...
And Gunther gets a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. This could be why the podiums are taking their time in case, well, they're going to go for it, but if Evans gets a penalty while the podium's on, that's very, very embarrassing.
Wouldn't be the first.
The Martin Brundle cutthroat response there as well, which I absolutely enjoy as always. It wouldn't be the first time, no, you're right. Anyway, Alexa's got the podium ceremony as well. You can hear in the background. Has done the podium ceremony now for a couple of years, and then this year was promoted up to doing the socials on Formula E.
Yeah, she does the little post-race show with Saunders and company, isn't she? When she's not doing WEC, of course.
Like last time out as well in Berlin, although she was there on the Sunday. She managed to get back. So,
right.
Jaguar, there's the podium that Ed's got as well. Jaguar get another podium. They had to work. Yeah, there you go. Oh, we can see it now. They had to work for it. We don't know exactly what changed at Jaguar. What information needs adjusting going forward. But yeah, do we race, do we not? Nearly cost
I think it reminded me a lot of what we saw in Vision last year, and when Cassidy and Buemi came together, because Cassidy was like, "Oh, tell me what to do. Do I save energy or do I attack?" and get him to work with me. And in the end, Buemi didn't let him through and just crashed into him and gave him a puncture. But here, at least, it could have gone a lot worse for Cassidy today, and I think that's how I'll reflect on it. But in the moment, of course, it's hard not to feel bitter when you have the most energy, you do such a great job saving, and you end up third rather than first, and your championship league gets cut into by 2 of your main rivals.
Not the best. Dennis up there, Evans up there, Rowland as well.
At least he's not holding Evans responsible, though.
That's
you
true.
can tell that by the way they were talking. So he's sort of frustrated more at the situation, and I'm sure when he talks to the team, they will obviously, because remember when he won in Berlin, he was like really confused and almost unhappy about winning because like, oh, we had no pace, how did we win? It's like, well, you saved the most energy.
They were all clueless, weren't they, about that one? Verline again being consistent, but with 5.
Oh, he's been fairly inconsistent actually recently.
Was it 5 races to go now? It's Portland I'm worried about. Next time out.
Well, we've still got another Shanghai to go.
Yeah. James Samiega's going to be trackside for the Grid Network and for us as well. Getting all the information on both days. We'll have extended pre-shows. De Vries got points, says Iceman. He did indeed. P8 on the board as well. It's in between Cassidy and Rowland has been noted by the stewards. This one's going to run and run and run. We'll bring you all the updates in practice 3. Sunday morning, 12:55 a.m. British Summer Time. Here it comes then for Mitch Evans. It's time for the national anthems. And now it's the British national anthem for Jaguar TCS Racing, who once again win in 2024. Jaguar looked just so patriotically British then as well. Every single one of their team singing God Save the King on the podium as well. James Barkley doing it as well down there in Parc Fermé. I found that quite interesting. You don't see many other teams do that on the podium as well. Jaguar get another one in their quest for the Constructors and the Teams Championship. They're helping out, of course. Let's see what they can do. Third place to Nick Cassidy, remains the championship leader, but as Ed said, the lead is being eaten into. Can he maintain the front? Tomorrow's race 2 laps shorter. Hopefully will be a bit more different as well. Before Portland. Where are we after Portland?
London, isn't it?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah. So Portland to London. Right, wow. That close to the end of the season. I thought there might be another one in between. Second for Pascal.
Well, I think Hyderabad got cancelled, so
Yeah.
it feels like a shorter season as it is.
Does, doesn't it? I don't know how Alexa can do that with her voice going high.
I don't think she can. I mean, that's the problem. Maybe everyone's so jet lagged having to go to Shanghai as well.
It's champagne time! No drinking! Oh, the Lando Norris bang. Champagne here in Shanghai. Jaguar 1-3, Porsche second. The Porsche powertrains once again proving that they can't be matched out there, with the Jaguar still being able to keep up there. The Jaguar car, the I-Type 6, of course. The Porsche powertrain taking in the Porsche 99X electric. What a race. Right, you've got 30 seconds, Ed. What did you make of the first Shanghai EPrix?
I think the first half was cleaner than I thought it was going to be for the most part, apart from Gunther crashing into someone. We saw a replay as well of Roland and Jev coming together, which was quite interesting. So Jev very much not happy, and Roland in his usual thing. But yeah, this is a race where Jaguar really, despite the animosity there, I think they maximised things. It'd be interesting if Cassidy can strike back tomorrow. But yeah, I think some very, very interesting stories there. A lot of drivers are not quite getting it right near the end, and Verline defending a little over aggressively. But yeah, for me, Jaguar pretty much nailed that one despite appearances near the end. They could have got a 1-2 on track. They've at least got a 1-3, which I think is still about as good as they could have hoped for.
Same times tomorrow. Join us then for the action from round 12 here at Shanghai. Bye-bye.